Hello, welcome and thank you for joining Tip Talk, Protiviti's external webinar series designed to offer insights into the work we do and career pathways. My name is Erin Lopez, and I'm the recruiting lead for Protiviti's Americas Delivery Center, which we call the ADC for short. I'm based in the Cincinnati area, and I have been with Protiviti since July of 2021. We previously shared with you a TIP Talk where we learned about the ADC, its operationally driven model, what we do, and how that differs from a traditional consulting career. Today, we will take a deeper dive into our financial crimes compliance competency, or FCC for short, and our career pathways within this department. I'm joined today by a few of my colleagues from the ADC's FCC competency. We will kick things off with introductions. First up on our panel is Brandon Rawl. Brandon, tell us about yourself and a highlight of your career with Protiviti so far.
Yeah, thank you, Erin. Hello, my name is Brandon Rawl, and I have been with Protiviti and the ADC since August of 2021. I was originally hired as an experienced senior analyst and was promoted to a pod lead in January of 2023. My career highlight was when I was promoted to a pod lead at Protiviti. It was the first time I was promoted to a managerial/supervisor role, and the first time I felt like my experience and knowledge was truly recognized and appreciated.
Thanks, Brandon. Next, we have Dylan. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Dylan Campbell. I've been with Protiviti and the ADC since July of 2022. I currently work on one of the biggest FCC projects at the ADC as an experienced analyst doing quality assurance and alerts. I'm a recent college graduate with a BA in Political Science and National Security Studies from Coastal Carolina University in Conway, South Carolina, since May of 2022. During my senior year, I worked as a sustainability liaison for the United Nations RCE for the Georgetown County Chamber of Commerce, along with other jobs such as Valvoline and Kroger, while being originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Thanks, Dylan. Lastly, we have Delaney. Delaney, tell us about your background.
Hello, my name is Delaney McBerry, and I am an experienced analyst at Protiviti. I started at the ADC in October of 2022. I graduated from Central State University in 2021 with a bachelor's in criminal justice. I then went on to the University of Cincinnati for graduate school to receive a master's in criminal justice, but took a pause before my last semester. At the same time, I was working for a research corporation conducting criminal and civil background checks. Then I was approached with an opportunity to work for Protiviti and have been here ever since.
Thank you all for your introductions. Now that we've met our panelists, let's dive into financial crimes compliance. Brandon, what is FCC?
Yeah, of course. So FCC stands for Financial Crimes Compliance. The overarching work that FCC does is risk compliance, and the clients that we may provide work for is essentially any institution or organization that handles money in any way, with financial institutions, otherwise known as banks, being the primary client. FCC primarily focuses on two types of work: anti-money laundering, or AML, and fraud.
What does AML and fraud work look like?
Yeah. So AML work primarily consists of what is called transaction monitoring. And the purpose of the work is to determine if there is suspicious activity occurring and then to report on that suspicious activity. Transaction monitoring means that any product or service offered by the client where money is used in any way is monitored. Examples of those products or services can include checking and savings accounts, all types of loans, investments and brokerage accounts, and cashier's check and money order activity. Any of these products and services that are monitored can be either personal or business accounts. Fraud work consists of determining if an individual is a victim of fraud or if an individual is attempting to conduct fraudulent behavior. There are numerous types of activity that is monitored for potential fraud, examples of which can include identity theft, account takeover, elder exportation, sweetheart scams, and check and credit card fraud.
Thanks, Brandon. Now that we understand FCC and the types of work that we do at the ADC, can you tell us a little bit about projects and how they're structured?
Of course, I would love to. Projects at the ADC can vary in structure a bit and are usually determined by the scope of work established by the client. Due to the projects usually being larger in scope and higher volumes of activity that need to be reviewed, there's usually a collaboration between the ADC and other Protiviti locations around the U.S. The collaboration is at all levels of the project, and the various teams/pods within the project can vary in the total number of pods and the size of pods, which is usually determined by the scope of work. A project is headed by a project management team who are the primary contact to the client during project work. Project is broken down into different pods that can consist up to 15 analysts, but usually less, and of varying experiences. And each pod is led by a pod lead. The analysts report up to the pod lead, and the pod leads report up to the project management team. There can also be various roles and responsibilities that an analyst can further take upon during a project, a primary one of which is a quality control role called Project Quality Control, or PQC. We also work within a production environment, meaning that analysts are expected to complete a determined level of alerts every day, which are then reviewed by the project quality control team. The expectations for analysts are to complete their determined volume of alerts in a timely and quality manner.
Thanks for sharing, Brandon. Now that we have an overview of the FCC competency, let's learn from our analysts. Dylan, can you share what types of projects you've worked on?
Yes, I've worked on two large projects for risk and compliance. One is a large project involving an international bank that I've been staffed on for about a year and a half. And the other is a domestic bank here in the US that I've currently been working on for about a year and a half as well.
When you think about these projects, what did your day-to-day responsibilities look like?
Yeah, as an analyst, my day consists of organizing my assigned workflow of alerts. I will spend about 5 to 6 hours analyzing numbers and factors, along with 2 to 3 hours of prepping customer information daily. These risk mitigation alerts include wire transfers, structuring, historical deviations, and international transactions, ensuring compliance with regulatory requirements and client-specific protocols. I am responsible for generating detailed documentation to assess and mitigate transaction risk, applying in-depth knowledge of AML regulations, transaction monitoring systems, and risk assessment methodologies.
Thanks, Dylan. Let's flip it over to Delaney. Delaney, can you expand on your experience? What types of projects have you been on while at Protiviti?
Yes, similar to Dylan, I have been on two large projects so far for risk and compliance at Protiviti. One is a large project involving an international bank that I have been staffed on for a year and a half, and the other is a domestic bank here in the United States that I have been currently working on for the past year.
When you reflect on your experience, what is an aspect of financial crimes compliance that has surprised you?
I believe the main aspect that surprised me was that you don't have to be a finance expert. Many successful analysts here at the ADC have a background in criminal justice like myself, or even psychology, for example. And I believe that understanding behavior and patterns is just as important as understanding finance.
Thanks, Delaney. Next, let's learn more about training. Brandon, can you tell us what training new hires receive?
Of course, I would love to talk about training. So training provided within FCC includes initial onboarding training and specific project training for each new project. The onboarding training is for all new hires within the FCC competency. This is usually a multi-week process of continued training courses that build upon each other and all occur before the new hire is placed on a project. The purpose of the onboarding training is to help the individual assimilate to their new position at Protiviti and the ADC, and to help them begin to get an understanding of what to expect when they start on a new project. Specifically, there are different courses and activities designed to help foster team mentality and to teach AML and fraud concepts. Whenever a new hire starts on a project, they are provided specific training tailored to that project. Additionally, whenever a new project is started, everyone joining that project will be provided with specific training. The scope of that specific training will vary between the different projects, including how long it'll last, who is leading the training, and the concepts being taught. Any project training can be led by Protiviti employees, the client, or some combination of both.
Thanks, Brandon. Delaney, when you think about training, are there specific skills you think help make a successful analyst?
Yes, I think there are many skills needed to make a successful analyst, but my top four would be attention to detail, having an investigative mindset, time management, and knowledge of compliance. Attention to detail is important for spotting patterns and abnormal behavior in transactions. An investigative mindset is important for having the ability to indicate fraud, money laundering, and other financial crimes. Time management is important for juggling multiple investigations and metric expectations in a timely manner. And lastly, knowledge of compliance like AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer, and BSA, Bank Secrecy Act, to name a few, are important to keep up with changes in financial crime regulation.
Thanks, Delaney. Dylan, any skills that you would like to add?
Yes. In my opinion, skills that contribute to a successful analyst consist of having strong organizational skills, deadline oriented, quick to learn, writing skills, and overall familiarity with Office 365 tools.
When you think about these skills, can you elaborate on how they apply to the work we do?
Yeah. Being organized allows an analyst to split up their priorities throughout the day on different tasks and allow for maximum workflow. That organization will allow the analyst to develop a deadline-oriented mindset to get all work completed on time. Being quick to learn and writing skills will develop from experience along with using all the Office 365 tools that will allow the analyst to operate the most effectively.
Thank you for your insights. We have a few minutes left today for questions and answers. Please note, not all questions that have been asked will be answered. It will be dependent upon time. Jumping into our first question. Dylan, how has Protiviti encouraged your development and upskilling?
Sure. Just recently, I've been internally promoted on my current project to a quality assurance role and have been able to enhance my training, leadership, and developmental skills by being promoted to a team lead within my pod.
Congratulations. Can you expand on some of your new responsibilities in this role?
Of course, my new role has me reviewing my peers' alerts, opening and closing active investigations, and addressing overall help within the pod.
Next question. Delaney, what do you find the most fulfilling about the work that you do?
I think the most fulfilling thing about my job would be that I'm constantly learning. I must stay up to date on new methods, regulations, and technology that continues my growth as a young professional. I also find it fulfilling that I'm helping combat financial crimes, drug trafficking, and terrorism financing.
Thanks, Delaney. Last question for Brandon. What is your favorite aspect of the work that you do?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Some of my favorite aspects of the work we do is that it's a challenging environment where we have a lot of opportunities for new things every day by learning new skills and joining new projects. There is also a lot of opportunity for career advancement by excelling in your role and also taking on extra responsibilities. I do also enjoy coming to the office and getting to work with and meet so many different people as we have a very diverse office environment.
Thanks, Brandon. I also enjoy our hybrid work model. Thank you to our panelists and to all of you for attending today. We hope you enjoyed the session and can join us for other upcoming TIV Talks. If you are interested in opportunities with Protiviti, we encourage you to visit our career site and view our open positions. Additionally, please join our talent community to be notified first about future opportunities. Thanks again, and everyone have a great day.